Hey guys, welcome to tutorial number 6. So at the end of tutorial today, you are going to get a bus stop screen back layer with KivyMD List and Scrollview. So remember in the last video, we actually built the front layer of the KivyMD backdrop with bus stop map view. So this map view allows you to navigate around to see the nearby bus stop, and then when you click on the bus stop marker or the icon, it's going to pop up an empty dialog to show you the bus stop details. While at the back layer, we actually want to have a list. For example, if you have 10 bus stops in the map view, we also want to have a list of 10 bus stops at the back layer that shows the bus stop code, bus stop description, and all the bus services that are available at that bus stop. So before we get started, if you haven't downloaded the app, feel free to go to Google Play Store to download MyTransportApp to have a better understanding of what kind of app that we are trying to build at the end of the series. And also, if you'd like to support my channel, feel free to go to buymeacoffee.com/marketstrong123 and contribute to my channel so that I can continue to do the things that I left to do. And without wasting time, let's get started. So in this tutorial, we're going to use SQL again, but this time around, we are going to query the LTA data mode section 2.3, which is bus route. So remember in the last video, we actually query the section 2.4 bus stop for the list of all the bus stops that are available in Singapore. In this video, we are going to make use of section 2.3 because remember in this bus stop list, we want to have the bus service information for each bus stop. If you only use section 2.4, it's not going to give you that information. But we can make use of bus stop code in order to reference to section 2.3. Section 2.3 bus route also has the bus stop code, and then it's going to give you the service number. So what is going to happen if you open a Postman, right? So let's say you do a query. So you're going to get the information like this, in which you have an array, and then inside it you have an object. Each object is a piece of a bus route data. So you have a bus stop code, and then you have a bus service number. So you're going to have multiple pieces of data with the same bus stop code, but their service number is going to be different. What we want to do is to look for, let's say you're at bus stop A, then we want to match those bus route data which has the same bus stop code as your reference, and then we want to get their bus service number. Okay. So this is a large amount of data. We are going to skip like 26,000 in order to get the last piece of information, because in one query you are only going to get 500 pieces of data. So with skip of 26,000, you are going to get the last one. 26,000 divided by 500 is going to give you like 52. So we can use a for loop from I for I in range of 0 to 0,53. That is going to give you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way until 52. And with that for loop, we are going to get all the information and then populate it into our myapp.db. We're going to create a table called bus route. In the last video, we created a table called bus stop, and then this video we are going to create a table called bus route, and then we are going to query the data into our main.py in order to use it inside our Python script. So having explained that, let's get to the next step, in which we want to create a table called bus route inside our myapp.db. So you can go to your app. So this is our app. We have our bus stop screen, and then this is our back layer of the backdrop. We have nothing yet, so we can close it. So we can go to create db.py, and then if you go to step 2, you can create this. You can copy this, and then you can comment this out, and then you can paste it and run it. So there's no error, which means the create table should be successful. The next thing that we want to do is go to populate db.py, and then we are going to comment out these codes that are related to bus stop in the last video, and then we want to copy these information that are related to bus route and paste it below. So what's going to happen here is we have our base URI, then we have our bus route path, and then we have a skip. So as I mentioned, for I in range of 0 to 53, if I is 0, the first query we are not going to skip anything, and then our bus route URL is going to be the base URI plus the bus route path, and then request.get. When we get the response, we want to look for the key of value, and then for each piece of information, we want to execute insert Sql command into this bus route table inside the myapp.db. We have all these column name. How I get column name is based on documentation. You see, I have all this. These are the value. I mean, these are the properties or the variables that I want to save. And then depends on how many variables that you have, you're going to put a question mark. And the value of this question mark is going to be bus route, service number, bus route operator, blah blah blah. The number of these variables must match with the question mark, and then must match with the number of column name that you have here. If that is successful, we're going to print it out. When I is not equal to 0, for example from 1 to 52, we are going to add the skip, and then I is going to multiply 500, just like what we did here. Skip equal to the I multiplied by 500. For example, skip 500, skip 1000, 1500, all the way until 26,000, and then we do the same insert Sql command into our table. So save it and run it. It's going to take some time to finish because this is a large amount of data. While waiting for that to complete, we can go back to our step 4. So later we are going to use our DB browser to inspect whether we have successfully populated data into our table. And then when that is okay, right, we can go back to our main app and ready to query the data from our database. So under our main.py main app, we are going to add this. This is the variable that we are going to use to store the total number of bus route data that we query from the database. So we go to main.py, and then here we're going to add this. And the main.py, under the onStart function, we are going to query the bus route data. Let's put it here. And then we are going to create a new function called bus route query, because when on start we're going to call this function. Of course, we need to have this function available. So let's put it here. So this is going to execute a query to this bus route table. Cursor is already referring to our database from the beginning. You see, connection.cursor, and then our total bus route response is going to store all the returned from this query, and then this is an example of information that we can get. It's going to be an array, and then inside you have a tuple. So you are going to have like a lot of tuple inside the array, okay, for the bus route query from the SQL database. So the first one is referring to 125 is service number, and operator direction, bus stop sequence, bus stop code, and blah blah, all the information. Okay, so you can see that our bus route population has been completed. Then we can use our DB browser. We can open the database. You see we have a bus route table being created, and then if you browse the data, right, now we have all the information available here. Okay, we have 26,011 rows of data. So what we are going to do now is, right, if you, let's say you filter this 75009, you can see that we have, with the same bus stop code, we are going to have multiple bus service number, and this service number is going to have different directions. Okay. So what we're going to do is, under the same bus stop code, we want to append this unique service number, and then we are going to show at the bus stop list to let the user know that what service number available at the bus stop. So we close the database, close it, close it. Next thing, we can come to the next step. So in the change screen function, under the if screen name is equal to bus stop screen, we can call the function called create bus stop list widget. This function is going to help you to create this list of bus stop in a scroll view. So we call this function. Screen name is going to bus stop. We call this function. Remember to save it, but we haven't defined this function yet, so we come to that later. Also, in the bus stop map view, under the function get bus stop in field of view, we also want to add this. We also want to call the same function. So here, why we want to call this function here, and then also here. The reason why is when you navigate to the bus stop screen, okay, you're going to call this function to create a bus stop list at the back layer. That is okay. But what if the user they navigate the front layer, they move their position on the front layer? So you also want the back layer to be updated instantly, right? To be at the same page as the front layer. So that is why in the map view, as we change, as the user navigate the latitude and longitude, this function is going to be called. When this function is called, we also want to create our bus stop list widget, right? So our bus stop list widget is going to be updated. So let's create a bus stop list.py before we are able to call this function, because this function is going to import this bus stop list class. Instantiate this bus stop list class, and then create the list in the scroll view. So let's create a bus stop list.py. Then paste it. Oops. Paste it. Okay. Now I want to explain this. I create a class called bus stop list, and then inherit from float layout, and then I define a variable called master bus service of bus stop. So this master is going to be an array that append all the bus service that is referenced to one bus stop. Okay. So so I create a canvas. Okay. This canvas is going to be this one, this canvas, and the canvas color is going to be this hex code. You can choose whatever color that you like. So I choose this color, and then it's going to be a rounded rectangle. Okay, and then this rectangle is going to be able to update its position and size depending on the screen. When you have scroller screen, it's going to update its own size and position. Okay, that is overall function of this. So I'm going to define a scroll view. To use the scroll view, you need to import the scroll view from Kivy, and then I'm going to define a MD list. Also, you need to import the MD list from the KivyMD.uix.list. Okay, here are some comments that I basically show you what you will get if you print, for example, quads bus route. If you print quads bus route, if you print quads but nearby bus stop, why we are able to get this information? So this information are actually being passed from the main.py. Later on we are going to pass this information. As we instantiate the bus stop list class, right, we can pass this information to the bus stop list class, and then this super init is going to allow us to get the quads, the information that is being passed to here. So maybe I will explain a little bit more later. So we are going to make use this information. You can see quads nearby bus stop is going to give you this information, and then uncomment, yeah, quads bus route is going to give you this information. Okay, so for each bus stop in our nearby bus stop, so remember that as we create the bus stop map view, we have our update nearby bus stop. We call this update nearby bus stop in the main.py. That is going to append all the nearby bus stop information into a variable called nearby bus stop. So we are going to pass this information into our bus stop list class, which is here, so that we can use this. We can, for example, if you have 10 bus stop in the nearby bus stop variable, for each bus stop in that nearby bus stop, we want to match against. So let's say the first bus stop code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I want to match against the bus route information, because as mentioned earlier, the bus route information will have the bus stop code, and then it's going to give you the bus service number if you want to look for it. So for each bus route information, if the bus stop 0 is referring to this bus stop code, is equal to bus route 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If this one and this one is the same, what I want to do is I will ask this variable to append bus route 0, which is this one. If our bus stop code is the same, I want to append your bus service number. Okay, so this bus service of bus stop, so we create another object called bus service object, and this bus service object, the key, we define a bus stop code. Bus stop code is going to be equal to bus stop 0, which is the bus stop code, and then the description is going to be equal to bus stop 2, which is this one. So we store the code and the description in our object, and then at the same time create the third key of the object, which is bus service of bus stop code, which is equal to all the list of all the bus service at that particular bus stop. Okay, so now in this object you have 3 keys: bus stop code, bus stop description, and all the bus services that are available for that particular bus stop. This is the information that we need in order to create this bus stop code, bus stop description, bus service of bus stop. Okay. Okay. Come back here. Then we have a master. This master is going to append all the object. So this master is going to have the entire list. Okay. So for each object in the master, if the length of each object bus service number, bus service of bus stop code is not empty, okay, then we are going to say bus service string is a space dot join the bus service of bus stop code. So otherwise it's going to give you an error. Why we are doing this is, well, I want to put this string at the secondary text, which is the second line of the 2-line item list. So this is a 2-line item list. So second line, I want to put all the bus service number, but then I want to have space in between it. So that's why I have this space, and then I'm going to join all the service number. Okay, if there is nothing in the bus service bus stop, I'm going to give an error. So here is going to show an error if there is nothing here in the master. Okay, so I create a 2-line item list which you need to import from KivyMD.uix.list. Okay, and then this 2-line item list, right, on release, because when you click it, it's going to call a function called go to bus arrival banner. So that is the next thing. I don't know where which tutorial, probably tutorial 10. When we click into this, it's going to bring you to this page to show you all the bus services that are available, and then it will show you all the bus arrival timing. Okay. Then the scroll view is going to add this. So first, we are going to use the list view that we defined earlier to add widget of this item, and then we are going to use a scroll view to add widget of this list view, and then we are going to use the class self to add widget of this scroll. So as you instantiate this, you are going to get a scroll view of list. Okay, save it, main.py. Of course, we need to import it to the main.py in order to use it. Save. And then we also need to import URL request and partial. Okay, let's see. So I will explain to you why we want to import this later. But let's create this function, create bus.list widget. Remember just now we call this function here in our bus.main view. Also under the transcript function we call this function, but actually we haven't created this function. So let's create this function. So I'm going to explain it. So as we call this function, as we are in the bus stop screen, we call this self.create bus.list widget. We call this function to happen, and then it's going to reference to the backdrop layout container. Container is referring to the back layer. Okay, and then first thing we want to do is in that back layer, if we have anything that is belongs to bus.list class, we want to remove it, and then we create a new one. Why we want to remove it is, as the user navigate the front layer, we call the update nearby bus stop. Okay, so at the same time we want the we want to create new bus stop list. So we remove the old one and then we update the new one, so that the front layer and back layer are always in the same page. Okay. So we instantiate the bus.list. Then this is the information that we pass to the bus.list class. So bus route is the total bus route response that we managed to get from the database in the bus route query function. And the nearby bus stop are all the nearby bus stops that we save as we create a map view. So as you pass this key to this class, that is when we can use the quads to call this key, call bus route and nearby bus stop. You get that? Of course, you must define this in order to make use of this quads bus route and nearby bus stop. Okay. I forgot to explain in the two-line item list. You can see that the first text that I display is this one. Each object bus stop code and each object description. Okay. So remember to comment this out. Okay, come back here. So as we instantiate the bus.list, right, we want to put it to the back layer. That is done, but there's one thing that we want to do here for the next tutorial, which is the bus services, because we have bus stop and then we also have bus services. So as you go to bus services page, we want to show all the bus services nearby. So to do that, at this bus stop page, we can already do something, which is with reference to this bus stop, and then with reference to all the bus service at that bus stop. Okay, we can already know what are the bus services nearby. Okay, so let's see. So we can do another query, which we will use the URL request. This is referring to section 2.1 of the LTA data model. So this is another one that is really cool, because when you pass in a parameter of bus stop code and bus service number, it's going to give you the information like that bus, that service number, when is the next bus arrival time, next bus arrival time, and next bus arrival time, and then where is the latitude and longitude. So in the bus service screen, we are going to display the next bus that is going to arrive to to the nearby bus stop, and then we are going to make use of the latitude and longitude. So I think I will explain more about it as we are at the bus service tutorial. Okay, but for your sake of understanding here, since now we have the bus stop code. Okay, we have all the nearby bus stop code here. Then we don't want we might as well we have all the nearby bus stop here. We might as well use this bus stop code information to do a query to the LTA data model to get all the bus that are going to arrive to all the nearby bus stop, and we call this total bus arrive response, because when this URL request is successful, it's going to call a function called update total bus arrival main, which is this one, and then it's going to pass the request information here, and then I'm going to append all the information into here, this variable. So this is the example of data. So under the key services, this is the information that you are going to get. So I'm going to store all this information with respect to each bus service inside this total bus arrives response. And then in the bus service screen, I'm going to make use of this, okay, to show all the bus services that are nearby. Okay. So under the main.py, right, because we want to append all the information. Of course, under here, you want to declare this variable. And why am I call this to be empty before we do the request is such that as every time the bus.list is refreshed, okay, we append the information inside this variable. So if you don't clear this information before we do the append, you are going to have repeated bus arrival information. So your bus service nearby is going to become bigger, more and more. So first time you're going to send 7, then second time you load it, it's going to have 14, 21, and so on. So the number keep on increasing. So you want to clear this variable before you start to append the nearby information inside. Okay. And then lastly, as just now in the bus.list, when we click this 2-line item list, we will go to this bus arrival banner, which we will cover in tutorial number 10. But for the sake of avoiding error, now we can just define a function at the main.py. And then we put a pass. So when you click the 2-line item list, it's not going to do anything. So let's run it to see whether it works or not. Okay, bus, click, boom. Now let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 13 bus stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we have 13 items in the list. Okay. So bus stop code, bus stop description, and all the bus service number. So if you click this, it's not going to do anything because this function is still passed. Okay, but in the tutorial 10, we are going to make this happen. We are going to click this, and it's going to bring us to bus arrival screen to show all the real-time bus arrival information. Okay, so let's say if we change this as the user navigate away, right? For example, let's say okay, now we only have 6. So this one is going to update 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now this one is only going to have 6. Okay. Okay, I hope that is clear for you. That is the end of this tutorial. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and in the next video, I think we are going to cover the bus service backdrop. Okay. And then bus service backdrop is going to have all the bus services that are nearby your location. Okay, and see you again. Bye bye.